everyone, and welcome back to the 13th edition of Ngrok's Office Hours. I am Aishika, a technical community manager here at Ngrok, and I am also your host today. I'm super excited to introduce you to a lot of product and community centric announcements and give you a thorough run through Ngrok's traffic policy. So, without any further ado, let's dive right in. So, for starters, we are bringing in the ngrok.com experience to your favorite LLMs and providers with ngrok AI. So, head over to ngrok.ai right now and sign up for our early access. I'm not going to spill more details about this one, but make sure you also set a reminder for our next edition of Office Hours, wherein we are going to take a deeper dive into the AI gateway. We also have ngrok CLI updates, but this is not the ngrok CLI agent. This is the community license initiative run by the developer relations team here at ngrok. So, yeah, we are closing applications for 2025. If you don't know what the community license initiative is, we help out open source maintainers by giving them free ngrok pro licenses, extendable indefinitely. So, we are going to open up our applications once again in the first quarter of 2026. Be on the lookout for any announcements on our social media platforms. And yeah, we also have a new cheat sheet curated by yours truly. So you can scan the QR code on your screen and you'll be redirected to this fancy new blog, which is probably one of the longest blogs there is on Ngrok. And you can also grab a copy of the two-pager printable cheat sheet, or you can, if you are truly an Ngrok fan, which I'm guessing you are, you can also go for the cheat book, which is a 14-page long version of the blog post and very handy to have for every platform engineer, honestly. I may be biased, but yeah. Again, I would love to introduce you folks to traffic policy, which is nothing but Ngrok's configuration language to authenticate, manage, verify, protect, a lot of things to do with traffic. And yeah, just deal with all the traffic that's coming into your webhooks or endpoints without ever touching your code base. So I hope I have my screen up here as well. Let's check it out. Yep, I do. So, I'm hoping that you already have the Ngrok CLI installed. If not, you can always head over to ngrok.com/download and get your hands on the CLI, set yourself up on Ngrok, configure Ngrok really easily on your systems. And yeah, let's just dive right in. So we also have a repository that you can follow today. So here's the link for that. You can always head over to github.com/ngrok-samples to find repositories from our previous office hours as well, to find the exact code base that we use in these demos to show you how things work. For this one, we have got office hours 013 cheat sheet, and here's a list of all the things that are here in this repository. So we have got like a bunch of traffic policy YAML files, and I'll take a deeper dive into that again, how all of this works. And I've got two working JavaScript files, which are nothing but like two very simple, dead simple Node.js servers. So let's take a look at the first one, which would be serve one.js. Why do I have two server files? We'll find out maybe closer to the end of the workshop. So in this Node.js server, all that I have is a very simple thing going on. I am opening a port 8080, and every single time I hit the server, I'm just going to be greeted by hello world. So yeah, let's just get this up and running. Let's open up our local host. Speaking of local host, our events calendar is also up and running on luma.com/ngrok. So if you're in or around San Francisco, don't miss our next meetup. More details on luma.com/ngrok. So now that local host is up and running here, I'm going to open up another tab on my terminal, and let's get ngrok up and running. So coming back to my beautiful slides, how you can get any port of yours up on the internet with a single line on your terminal is basically ngrok http 8080, considering you've configured ngrok. By that I mean just adding the auth token to your ngrok agent and initializing your agent. But yeah, let's do it. Ngrok http, oh man, http 8080. If you were maybe working with the port 3000 or port 80, you would just replace this with, yeah, whatever port you've got. But for me, that would be 8080. And let's take a look at what's happening over here. I'm just gonna head over here. Oh, my bad. I did not share my screen. I hope my screen's visible now. So let me do it all over again. So, yeah, I've got Hello World over here, and hope the screen's visible. This is what I'm going to get. But if I share this endpoint here, this ephemeral URL, you'll be able to see it, of course. That's because I want you to see it right now. But what if I were building something in stealth? What if I don't want you to see? What if I don't want the world to see what I'm working on, and I want to gate it? Or there's just so many things that I can honestly do with a traffic policy file on ngrok. I mean, I'm so excited, I'm just eating my words at this point. But yeah, coming back to it, all that you can really do with traffic policy file. Will take a deeper dive into it. But how do you get started with creating traffic policy? Do you head over to ngrok? No, you don't leave your environment, your coding environment at all, and you basically you can just create a new file in the directory that you're working in, or you can hit nano traffic policy.yaml in your terminal. So if you have cloned the GitHub repository that I was talking about earlier, this one, it should already be there. I am gonna share the other screen once again so you're able to see it. I'm gonna open another one. Yeah. Okay, perfect. This is running node. This is ngrok. This is all the other stuff. So yeah, as you can see here, I've got a bunch of different YAML files. For the first one, I think we are just going to go ahead with custom response. But yeah, you've got all of the files here in the repository right here on your screen. So let's go back to our slides, and I'm going to run you through one of the first traffic policy actions that we are going to talk about today. So first of all, what's the anatomy of a traffic policy file? You've got three main things happening here. With the first one, which is on http request, it can be http response, it can be on tcp connection. It's basically the entry point. I mean, when should ngrok know that there's an action that needs to kick in? That's how you define the entry point for the traffic policy action. Every single time there's a new http request, there's going to be some action, right? Some traffic policy action. So with type, you're defining which traffic policy action you want to invoke. And I'm going to give you a run through all the different traffic policy actions that we have in just a while. But here's all that's happening with actions and type. We're just defining that, yeah, this is the traffic policy action that I want to call. Another very interesting thing, okay, you might want to run a bunch of different things. You might not just want to give a custom response for a specific http status code. You might want to authenticate and log and protect, and there's just so many different combinations, so many different variations that you can have. For every single action that you want to add, you'll just keep on adding a new type of action. That's it. That's all that you need to do. No extra traffic policy files. Every action inside a singular file. With config, all that you're doing is you're adding details for the action, all the details that the action requires to get stuff done. So over here, all we are doing is we are telling ngrok that every single time there's an http request, a custom response needs to be sent in case a 503 is detected. And when that happens, the following body that you see here, which is service unavailable and all of that is going to show up. So that's all that's honestly happening in this very specific traffic policy file. So over here, we just talked about custom response, but what are the other traffic policy actions that I can perform? I mean, I talked about authenticating and gating traffic. that's going to be the topic of our office hours workshop today. So how are we going to do that? What are the other traffic policy actions? Let's take a look. This is all the different traffic policy actions that you can execute right now, and you can create combinations with any or all of these. I mean, I wouldn't recommend all because a bunch of them are going to be pretty similar, but we already talked about custom response. We can also add custom headers. We can pass custom headers. We can do some simple basic authentication with a username password combination. And speaking of that, I feel like OAuth is highly underrated when it comes to authentication. We are also going to, see how we can add OAuth in less than 5 lines of code, again, without ever touching your code base. And in a nutshell, basically, these are the three traffic policy actions that I'm going to run you through in this workshop. And I would love for you to follow along with me. And it's not going to be difficult at all. You've got all the YAML files in the repository. If you're more of a JSON person, you can also head over to the docs. The README is really thorough, taking you right over to the specific policy actions and their respective YAML or JSON files as well. So, I mean, I really wanted to cover verify, webhook, and setvars and all of those stuff, but in the respect of time, let's stick to these three. So, for the first traffic policy action that we are actually going to work with, this is what the basic authentication traffic policy file looks like. And if I try to break it down, here's all that's happening. Okay. So, on HTTP request, that is the hook or the entrance point where for every new HTTP request that's received, again, this can be HTTP response or on TCP connection or a bunch of different entrance points that you can again read about on our docs. And let me throw that in here. So you can always head over to our docs, which are really thorough, ngrok.com/doc/traffic policy, and read about all the different hooks or entrance points that you can add to your traffic policy action. And as I mentioned earlier, actions is where you give the list of all the different traffic policy actions that you want to invoke whenever a new HTTP request is received, whenever your endpoint is hit. And with type, I'm telling the agent that I'm trying to invoke a basic authentication traffic policy, which is basic auth. With config, all I'm doing is I'm passing on all the details that it requires. I mean, of course, you cannot have basic authentication without a set of credentials. With realm, the modal that's going to pop up on the user, the client screen when they have to enter the username password combination, uh, it's going to have a name. That's all that we are trying to pass on with realm over here. And the most interesting thing of all is the last line over here, which is enforce true. Why I personally love it, uh, it tells the ngrok agent that can the user, can the client bypass this by any chance. So for authentication, something like authentication, you don't want the user, the client, or any other unauthorized parties to just walk through and like receive the content on their end. So if you were using maybe say a bunch of different traffic policy actions, some you might be okay with the user bypassing some of them, but things like authentication, they always need to be fulfilled, they always need to be satisfied. So that is the reason why we are throwing in enforce true. So every single time this action needs to be fulfilled, these credentials need to be the exact accurate, as accurate as mentioned here, or the content will not be served. So that's all that we are trying to do over here. So now let's go back to our content, rather our code. So I've got my server up and running over here on port 8080, and I'm going to close ngrok over here for a while. I already have the YAML code that I showed you a while back over here. So coming back, let's just take a look at it once again, just because that's going to be 01 basic auth.yaml. Again, the same stuff that you see on your screen. Now, Okay, I have the YAML file, I have everything. Do I have to go to ngrok's dashboard to attach this traffic policy file? No, I'm not going to leave my coding environment at all. All I'm going to do is, wow, I love WAP for just guessing everything. But yeah, I've got a port open, which is port 8080. I've got a traffic policy file, which is 01 basic auth YAML. And now all I need to do is pass on this flag, which is the traffic policy file flag, which attaches this file to my endpoint. So now let's see what happens when I run this. Yep, I've got a new URL. What happens when I try to run this? I'm greeted by a modal. And if I am not wrong, the credentials were user and password. Really terrible. Please pick better credentials. But if I do click on sign in, I should be greeted by hello world. And hello world it is. Now, if I don't give the right set of credentials, what happens? Now, we did not add anything to log us out or time us out in any way. Again, these are different scopes that you can manage. Read the docs, and that should work. If I did not give the right set of credentials, what would happen? Let's check it out. I'm just gonna curl. Oh, as it turns out, I did not copy the URL. So I'm just gonna copy it real quick and remove all this extra space. And now, if you were to curl this endpoint, you would ideally want to add a base 64 encoded string for the username password combination as an additional header. So all that would happen is this would basically change into request get and the URL the URL flag, and then you would ideally want to add header followed by authorization basic and whatever base 64 encoding you have for your credentials. And you can again add as many credentials as you want. You can pass on a new credential to all of your users. I'm just going to do curl this, again remove the space, and I should ideally receive a 401 unauthorized message, and it works. So that's how easily you can add basic username password authentication to your web application without ever having to touch your code base or without any extra steps. I mean, if you're using ngrok, it's just that easy. That's all you need to add a very simple layer of authentication and protecting your endpoint. Now, what if you wanted, something more fancy, like say, for example, OAuth? Let's take a look at how things change when we try to use something like OAuth. It actually becomes even easier. It's now 5 lines of code. That's it. That's a new traffic policy file. Every single time there's a new HTTP request, all that's happening is we are defining that the action is OAuth, and the OAuth traffic policy action is to be invoked every single time the endpoint is hit. The provider, there are actually a bunch of different providers that you can go for, like Google, Amazon, Facebook, GitHub, GitLab, LinkedIn, Microsoft, which the list goes on. But all of these are again available on our docs. So yeah, for this specific demo, I'm going to stick to Google. I could also go with GitHub, but yeah, let's take a look at how this actually looks. So again, let's go back here. I'm going to clear this out just because. And I'm going to stop my agent. My port is still running. I again still haven't touched my port at all. I mean, the servers as is, I'm not touching it at all. Just gonna let it be. Okay. And now I want to show you what's there in OAuth. Very simple, 5 lines of code, just yeah, what I talked about earlier. Now, how do we attach this to the port. Let's take a look at it. Ngrok HTTP 8080. We add the traffic policy file 02 auth YAML. Again, all of this is in the GitHub repository. So you can always steal it. You can always play around with it, combine all of these together, and it will still work. So let's see what happens now. So if I try to head over to this URL now, I should be asked to log in using my Google account. What does it look like? As you can see, I'm being asked to log in using my Google account. So let's do this one more time. So you can actually see that I'm not trying to fool you here, and this is honestly how easy it is to add auth to your apps. So I open a new tab here, and yeah, now what happens if I do end up using my Google account? Okay, I am signing back into Ngrok. So why I get this message? Because Ngrok is managing everything for me. This is a managed auth offering. So that is why I'm signing back into Ngrok. But yeah, the second I click on continue, I should be able to see hello world on my screen. Voila. That is hello world right there. So again, as a developer, you might not be very happy with like with not having granular control over something like OAuth. You might not be happy with just a person's name, your user's email. You might need more information from their from the OAuth provider of your liking. So if you don't want to go for a managed OAuth service, can you bring your own? Of course you can. It's Ngrok. So it's actually that easy. You all you need to do is you need to add the name of your provider, add the client ID, which would be your app's OAuth client ID, and you will generate a new OAuth client secret, bring it here and throw it in. There are a bunch of different scopes that every provider requires uh, for so they can give you that information. So add whatever scopes you'd want to throw in your client's ID, client secret, and you have granular control over OAuth as well. And again, all of this is happening without ever touching your code base. Now, a very interesting thing: rate limiting is one of the concepts that has always been like very mind boggling for me. I've never wanted to deal with rate limiting, so I run away from it like anything. But with Ngrok's traffic policy and this rate limit action, you can add that again in I don't know, maybe less than 10 lines of code. So let's take a look at how this works, but let me first explain, what's exactly happening. I'm not going to take a deeper dive this time in the interest of time, but again, all that's happening is self-explanatory, honestly, from the name here, that we are only allowing at max 30 requests every minute. So 30 hits to the endpoint, and then the content just won't be served. Okay, that's all that's happening here. Now let's take a look at how this is actually working. Let's go back to my terminal. I'm going to stop Ngrok here. Sorry about that. Let's take a look at the rate limit YAML. So I've changed it a bit to only allow 5 requests per minute, because I am very confident that I alone, or even with you folks, would not be able to hit this endpoint this fast and still be able to show you an amazing demo. So I'm only allowing 5 requests every minute. So every 60 seconds, only 5 times can this endpoint be accessed. The content will be served only 5 times. After that, I'm not going to get anything. Okay. So how do we attach it? Very simple. Just replace the file name. And Warp has amazed me. Oh no, IP, not IP restriction. We have rate limit. Yeah. So let's take a look at how things are going to work now. We have gotten our endpoint. This time, instead of going to the browser, I'm going to want to curl it because it's very easy to showcase things that way. Clear things over here. And when I curl this URL, I should get hello world and I should get it only 5 times. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is be fast for starters and then copy this and paste it a bunch of times. I'll receive hello world the first 5 times and then this should stop. So, as you can see here, I receive hello world the first 5 times and then I'm rate limited because this endpoint can only be served at for max 5 times in a minute. I'm not going to get anything. Now, if I hold for a while and if I try again, maybe I'll be able to get something. Yeah, that's it. So every 60 seconds, I can only get 5 requests on this endpoint and I'm rate limited. And that's just how easy it is to get rate limiting on your web application, service, endpoint, whatever it may be. Let's talk about another really amazing feature that I absolutely love about ngrok. This has nothing to do with traffic policy, but it's just a feature that I love insanely. So earlier you might have seen on my screen that we have got two different servers actually. We have got serve1.js and we have got serve2.js. This is what it was for, so I could show you how easy it is to load balance things on ngrok. So I'm gonna open another terminal tab and I'm going to add cat serve-2.js. This server again is very similar to the first one. All that's happening is it's opening up on port 8081 and it's going to throw the message load balance because why not. So the first server returns hello world and the second server returns load balanced. Now I mean, let's listen to what and node serve2.js. Okay, so I've got hold on, I've got two different servers running, serve1.js and serve2.js. First one's on 8080, second one's on 8081. And what I'm trying to achieve is basically I want both of these ports to be load balanced on the same URL. There are a bunch of different things that you can do with ngrok's endpoint pooling, and again you can find the docs to that on ngrok.com/docs. What you need to be on the lookout for is endpoint pooling, and all that's happening is basically I'll show you. First, I mean, if I were to get both of these ports out on the internet, I would of course use ngrok http 80 and ngrok http 8081. And the issue with this is I would basically get two different URLs, right? And one thing that, by the way, I haven't covered, very lazy of me, is how to actually create your own static URL. Because as you might have noticed, every single time you use ngrok http 80, unless you provide a separate flag, you always get a new ephemeral URL. And this is like a very common complaint that we see from our developers. And I always point them to the docs that allow you to create a new static domain. So I'll just show you how easy it is. And this is honestly the only time that you're going to have to open ngrok or any browser to do, yeah, anything to get your things up on the internet. So all you need to do is even on the free plan you can create one static domain free of charge. So all you need to do is click on new domain and select whatever you'd like to. So I would want to go for Aishika, hoping it's not take. Oh, it's not. So aishika.ngrok.pizza, and I'm gonna. I don't want to give it a description. So I get everything here from ngrok, the command exactly that I need to run to get my ports up here, which is the URL flag. So I'm just gonna copy this here just because. So coming back here, I've got two ports, and actually, if I do go back to the slides again, I get two new ephemeral URLs the second I run ngrok http 8080 and ngrok http 8081 on two different tabs. I don't want that. I want both of them to be load balanced on the same URL. How can I do that? This is how. So all that I need to do is add yet another flag called pooling enabled, not touch anything on ngrok.com. All of this, again, if you have a static URL already, you don't even have to open ngrok. All of this is happening within your coding environment, which is what I absolutely love. So I used to work for a cloud service provider, and I've helped people, load balance their resources, their applications, their web services. And let me tell you, it is complicated. If you're a developer, if you have load balance before, you would agree with me. It's never been more simple getting completely load balanced applications in two lines of terminal code, if you may. So, I mean, let's take a look at how this actually works, and then I'll tell you how things are happening under the hood and what else you can do with ngrok. So, let me pull this up. So, I've got ngrok over here, which I'm going to have to stop. Sorry again. And I'll probably just let this be, maybe clear it out. Oh man, that was loud. That was very loud. So, okay, just another terminal. And okay, I've got port 8080, I've got port 8081 running, and over here I've got two separate tabs. And yeah, I'm gonna clear this out too. Now all that we need to do is we are gonna do ngrok http 8080. Over here we are gonna come back at ngrok http 8081. And now just gonna paste this. I'm just adding the URL flag, which is aishika.ngrok.pizza. What actually happens if I don't add the pooling enabled flag? Let's maybe take a look at it. So yeah, I've got the first server, which is hello world on aishika.ngrok.pizza. And let me go back and now try to do this. Yep, fail to start tunnel because there's already a port online. So either I can stop the first endpoint or I can load balance between both of them using the pooling enabled flag. So let's do that. First, I need to stop this one as well. And all I need to do is add pooling enable. Why pooling enabled? Because ngrok aging basically creates a pool with all the ports that have the same URL, and they are load balanced. So that's why it's called endpoint pooling, which is very adorable. So again, go back and we add pooling enabled. And let's see what happens now. Okay, I've got aishika.ngrok.pizza here, and I've got aishika.ngrok.pizza over here. But like, is it really load balanced? Am I lying about it? Let's maybe take a look at it. So ngrok, curl http s:// aishika dot ngrok dot pizza. And I'm going to actually copy it because I'm going to run it multiple times. So this is server 2, this is server 1, and no matter how many times I run it, it's always going to be load balance. And it doesn't oscillate, but yeah, it's just pretty fun to see it. And I actually, for one of our company events in San Francisco, I had this weird idea. Actually, I had the idea on my second appearance for office hours, which was, I think, back in May. And that's when we had just started talking about endpoint pooling. That's when it went live, the feature went live. And I was like, this is like, I can just create Russian roulette in a way. And what happens in Russian roulette? You've got six holes and you can put a bullet in one. And yeah, that's how it works. Five times you're not going to get hit. Once you are going to, so there's a 16.67% chance of you getting hit or you not getting hit. So no, 16.67% chance of you getting hit. Sorry for my bad maths. So I decided to come up with this fun game called Terminal Roulette, where I would have like six different ports completely load balanced using Ngrok's endpoint pooling. And yeah, it just works the way I've just shown you. So every single time I try to run it, yeah, there's no pattern per se, but it's going to be equally load balanced every single time. So none of your services are under too much stress, and you can actually read the docs. There are a bunch of different things that you can do. And yeah, I just wanted to showcase load balancing real quick because it's like one of the features that I absolutely love. So again, going back to our slides, this is seriously how easy it is to load balance between two or more, actually a lot more different services, different ports. And I absolutely love how you can get pretty much anything online in one line with Ngrok. So again, I'm gonna go really back to show you again all the different traffic policy actions that you can deal with as well. You can also, yeah, deny traffic, and this comes in very handy if you're dealing with sneaky AI and LLM products. So yeah, that's it from my end, and I just wanted to give you a quick run through all the different things you can do. We have also got a very interesting traffic policy examples gallery that I would love to show you, and the link would be, a moment, just head over to ngrok.com/docs/traffic policy slash examples, and you'd be greeted to something like this. There are a bunch of different traffic policy examples over here, and the best part is you can actually submit your own traffic policy examples and be awarded for that. But yeah, a lot of different things that you can do with Ngrok, and I just wanted to show you in a way what else you can really do with Ngrok. So thank you so much for taking the time out to go through traffic policy with me, and I would absolutely love to see you at our next edition of Office Hours, wherein we take a deeper dive into all things ngrok.ai. So very excited to actually bring the Ngrok experience to your AI innovations. And with that, I guess it's time for me to bid you farewell. Thank you so much once again. And I would absolutely love to see you on October 15th. Thank you so much, and have a good one.